HHS Secretary RFK Jr. tells a truly disturbing but true story about Dr. Anthony Fauci. I hope the lawsuit to remove the auto pen pardons goes through and this guy goes down. President Trump explains how the United States is winning. A new report about the mainstream media and how it manipulates viewers has come out, and it's a good reminder why the legacy media news outlets are failing. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps me out, so thank you so much. Let's jump into the news. In a fiery speech made by President Donald Trump, he boldly claimed his first 100 days back in office were the best of any president in history. At a rally in Michigan packed with supporters, Trump pointed to major immigration crackdown, tough new trade tariffs aimed at boosting U.S. manufacturing, and expanded oil drilling, he says, is bringing down the cost of gas. President Trump stated, "We're making America great again, and it's happening fast. What the world has witnessed in the past 14 weeks is a revolution of common sense." That's all it is. You're conservative, you're liberal, I don't care. You know what it's all about. It's about common sense when you think about it. We like strong borders. We like good education. We like low interest rates. We like being able to buy a beautiful car and now deduct the interest. That's never been done before. We want a strong military. We want low taxes. Now, all of this was very well received by MAGA voters. However, on the other side of the aisle and among older Americans, they are starting to believe that Donald Trump is in fact bad for the country. This might be why. Mainstream media networks like ABC, CBS, NBC have unleashed overwhelmingly negative coverage during President Trump's first 100 days back in office. In fact, if President Trump was brought up on ABC, CBS, or NBC, 92% of the time it was negative, spun to be negative, or flat out lies. For Elon Musk, 96% of the time. For DOD head Pete Hegseth, 100% of the time. And for RFK Jr., 89% of the time. Meanwhile, these same groups gave President Joe Biden 59% positive coverage, even though he was making mistakes every single day, driving up inflation every single day, passing trillions and trillions of dollars, adding more and more people to the federal government workforce. So now you've got all these people that are receiving news from the mainstream media. 92% of the time, it's negative on Trump. These outsiders continue to sidestep the truth, and they are hurting the country by not letting their viewers know what's really going on. Now, President Trump currently holds a steady 48% approval rating, according to Gallup polling. This is likely due to the fact that he has such a strong team. For instance, Musk, Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi. So he's doing very well. 72% of Republicans no longer trust the mainstream media. They say that it is full of constant negative coverage, that it is hurting the country. The louder their critics get, the more their supporters tune in to people like me, especially on topics that the American people care about. I mean, you've got ABC News, NBC, CBS, MSNBC telling people that Trump is not doing a good job on the border, when in fact, the crossings have dropped by 94%. It's incredible. All right, now I have a big update for my community on AG Letitia James of New York. New York City Attorney General Letitia James faces a new bar complaint filed by the America First Legal with the Committee on Professional Standards, alleging she has committed mortgage fraud. The complaint was filed late on April 28th, and it stems from a criminal referral from the U.S. FHFA, which stands for Federal Housing Financial Agency. They are claiming that Letitia James falsified bank documents and property records to secure more favorable loans. Isn't that what she accused Trump of? Specifically, she allegedly misrepresented a Norfolk, Virginia property as her primary residence and misreported the number of units in a Brooklyn property to qualify for better loan terms. AFL, the America First League, argues that these actions violate New York rule of professional conduct, which prohibits dishonesty and fraud. Letitia James' attorney, Abe Lowell, called these allegations politically motivated, citing her civil fraud case against Donald Trump as a trigger for retaliation. However, those that have brought the suit and the referral and the claim, they have the paperwork. It's all public record. So she's trying to claim that this is part of her job so she can use taxpayer money to cover the cost. She's trying to say that this is politics versus personal so she can get American taxpayers to cover the cost. It's disgusting. I believe she's going to go down, and I'll continue to keep you in the loop on her. As political attacks ramp up, Detroit Congressman Sri Thanader has filed 7 articles of impeachment against President Trump, saying he's responding to pressure from his Michigan voters who want Democrats to push back. Thanader accuses Trump of everything from obstruction of justice and abuse of power to corruption and violating the First Amendment. Thanader stated, "I have introduced articles of impeachment against President Trump. When Trump ignores the Constitution, Congress, and the courts, he is not fighting for America. He is tearing it down and endangering our democracy." Ooh, democracy is on the ballot. No, it wasn't. That's why Trump won. Now, to make sure people noticed, Thanader put up 4 giant and expensive impeach Trump billboards across his district, hitting spots in Detroit, Grosse Pointe, and downriver. Now, President Trump fired back at Thanader, stating, "Today they did it again. Some guy I've never heard of. Is he a congressman? This guy, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start the impeachment of Donald Trump. What the hell did I do? Here we go again. They want to impeach me. This guy is a lunatic." So these articles of impeachment will go nowhere and benefit no one except maybe the owner of the 4 billboards. So literally nothing crazy is probably going to come out of this. And I don't know. I wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. All right. Now I want to tell you guys about a video that RFK Jr., Health and Human Services, put out about Dr. Fauci. It's really disturbing, and I want to react to it. But first, let me tell you about today's video sponsor. There is a war happening right now, but it's not what you think. It's actually happening in your gut. A battle between good and bad bacteria can determine your health and happiness. Kimchi 1 from Bright Core Nutrition is a fermented superfood your body needs to arm the good guys with the right weapons to defeat the bad actors in your gut. That's right. Your gut is full of bacteria, good and bad. And I can tell you from my personal experience how kimchi helped me to rebuild my own gut after COVID. Kimchi has over 900 strains of beneficial bacteria in each capsule. Kimchi supports healthy digestion, fortifies your immune system, and helps detoxify your body. Kimchi has also been shown to reduce obesity and promote smaller waistlines by curbing appetite and naturally boosting your metabolism. It really is great. I think that you guys are going to absolutely enjoy it. I know that I have. It's been really, really great. Now, I want to put up here on the screen, you can go to mybrightcore.com/kimchi or snap the QR code and get 25% off. But I know you guys are smarter than that. Call them right now at 888-908-4425. Get up to 50% off plus free shipping. Why buy through the internet at 25% off when you can have a lovely phone call with an English-speaking American that knows this stuff inside and out and get up to 50% off plus free shipping? I think you're going to absolutely love it. All right, now let me show you this video. Again, this is disturbing. I hope it doesn't bother anybody, but I want to bring this stuff to your attention because you guys need to know Dr. Fauci, he's no hero. And let's go ahead and we will watch this together.
My father was killed in '68. Around the time, I forget the year that Stonewall happened.
1969 was Stonewall.
So it was a year before Stonewall. But my uncle, Ted Kennedy, became the first activist, real, gay rights activist in the United States Senate. In 1980, when he ran for president, he was the first presidential candidate in history to actively court the gay vote. I campaigned with him and then many times without him in the Castro up in San Francisco. And that was a time when no politician was going there. Teddy was the only one. And then Teddy was chair of the Senate Health Committee for 50 years. And one of his biggest issues was making sure that AIDS research was fully funded. He had a famous battle with Anthony Fauci at that time, who was trying to ban any kind of therapeutic drugs. He was trying to steer all of the business toward AZT, which was his drug with GlaxoSmithKline, which was then called Burroughs Wellcome. And there were many all of the symptomology of AIDS were other diseases for which there were therapeutic drugs. And Dr. Fauci was trying to prevent people who were suffering from AIDS from acquiring those drugs. And that's why there were then buyers clubs, famously the Dallas Buyers Club. There were Buyers Club in all the big cities with gay populations in San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Dallas, etc. And those were people who were going to foreign countries to buy illegal therapeutic drugs to bring them back to the United States, to give them to people who were suffering from AIDS and who did not want to get on the AZT regimen, which was killing people. John Lawrenson, who was one of the most famous researchers and journalists in the AIDS community at that point, estimates that 330,000 gay men were killed by AZT. Between 1989, I think it was approved, and 2019, particularly in the early days. And a lot of people did not want to get on AZT. They wanted to try these other therapeutic drugs, and Anthony Fauci refused to test them for efficacy. And my uncle ultimately forced him to test them. My uncle hired Terry Byrne, who was the first openly gay chief of staff in the United States Senate for any senator. Terry Byrne was also the first openly HIV-infected staffer in the United States Senate history. And my uncle engendered a lot of controversy by hiring him and then promoting and protecting him. And Terry Byrne worked with Teddy to make sure that HIV research was fully funded and that alternative drugs and therapeutics other than AZT were available to people who are suffering from HIV and AIDS.
All right. Does this sound familiar to anyone else? Let me just summarize really quickly. Dr. Fauci held a patent on an HIV drug. He made sure none of the other drugs that helped with symptoms and healing people of HIV and AIDS could be used to heal from HIV or AIDS. Everyone had to be routed through AZT, which was the drug that Dr. Anthony Fauci controlled. Doesn't this sound like COVID? Like this guy pulled the wool over our eyes multiple times. The COVID miracle shots have killed so many people. So many people have heart conditions, strokes, lung conditions, kidney conditions, liver conditions. They've gotten out of nowhere turbo cancer and diabetes reactions like they've never had before. So this guy, all these people are dying of HIV and AIDS. Guess what? They go back, they look at it. What were they actually dying of? The very medication that Dr. Fauci said was the only way out of the AIDS epidemic. This is insane. This is insane. 300,000 gay men died because of this. Now, like, it's insane to me. Why is Dr. Fauci not in jail? This guy is a horrible, horrible Frankenstein monster of a human being. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? He did the same thing. No other drugs work. Donald Trump doesn't know anything. We need to lock down, put diapers on our face, stay away from your family members, use masks that make your mouth acidic, and then you get the PCR positivity test. The whole thing was a giant scam. Why? So that he could route money back to Big Pharma. I can't wait for them to pull this crap off the shelf. I can't believe that they haven't. Anyway, RFK Jr. exposing Dr. Anthony Fauci for the piece of crap human being that he is, and I wanted to share that with you guys. All right, some more good news. The Trump administration has removed several Biden-era appointees to the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Council, including Vice President Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff. Now, Doug Emhoff, who is Jewish and helped lead the Biden administration's efforts to fight anti-Semitism, called the move political and said it risks turning Holocaust remembrance into a divisive issue. Here's what he said. Today, I was informed of my removal from the United States Holocaust Memorial Council. Let me be clear. Holocaust remembrance and education should never be politicized. To turn one of the worst atrocities in history into a wedge issue is dangerous, and it dishonors the memory of 6 million Jews murdered by Nazis that this museum was created to preserve. Now, I'm not sure personally how removing First Gentleman Doug Emhoff, you know, the guy that slapped his girlfriend so hard in public she spun around, I'm not sure how removing him is going to cause another Holocaust. I don't know. I'm not a genius or anything. I'm just a guy on the internet. But methinks thou dost protest too much, Doug Emhoff. Nobody cares that you're removed. And Donald Trump is no Adolf Hitler. All right, now tensions are rising in D.C. As they criticize the new defense budget, which is now earmarked to over $1 trillion. Now, I want to know, how is that money going to be used to rebuild the U.S. military? All the weapons, munitions, airplanes, everything that we gave to Zelenskyy, are they going to rebuild the military like Trump did? I want to know that. I want to know where they're going to divert crappy weapons like the F-35 piece of crap jet. Trillions of dollars spent on a jet that doesn't work the majority of the time. You can Google that. Into like drone warfare or mechanized robots, something like that. I want to better understand this because that's a lot of money, $1 trillion. And they say part of it is to strengthen the military and part of it is to cut waste and redirect resources. But how do you need more money in order to cut waste? That seems like just more waste, right? Now, Trump has talked about maybe even cutting the military's budget in half, bringing people home, closing down some of our bases around the world. And then what happens? They come out, they throw $1 trillion at it. Again, I'm not claiming to fully understand it. I'm just letting you guys know what's in the news. But from a personal standpoint, I would like to know, how that money is going to be used to make America safe, make America stable, rebuild the military, rebuild our weapons. In international news, President Trump is losing his patience. He told The Atlantic that he believes Ukraine will be completely crushed if they don't end this war soon. He said, Zelenskyy came to my office, started complaining that we weren't giving him security guarantees. And I'm like, just sign the deal and then we'll figure all of that out. He doesn't have the cards. He never did. Hopefully we can get this thing done. He then said, from his perspective, it seems Vladimir Putin is more interested in ending this war than Europe and Zelenskyy. And I kind of believe him just based on everything I research and report to you guys on a weekly basis. Anyway, that's my update for today. I love you guys. Stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.